There is a continuous flow of music that builds gradually over 4 separate pieces over the 55-odd minutes. Well, there's a sort of continuum from the Division Bell album to this, and the last phrase but one on the Division Bell is the endless river forever and ever at the end of the song High Hopes.
There are ideas there that actually sort of almost can be seen in some of the really early albums, and in terms of assembly of music that is not in regular song format. Certainly in terms of this record, which is primarily instrumental, the obvious interpretation would be that it's about music, primarily, rather than lyrics.
It comes from all sorts of ideas. Some of it is improvised. I mean, quite a bit of it is actually, just the two of us, Rick and me, or the three of us, literally improvising something together. But some of it is also half-written ideas that one of us had come up with and that we had rehearsed and had considered as a start point for something. A lot of those moments are so lovely, so magic as they are, that we've actually used those and enhanced them a little bit. And modern technology is a wonderful thing in the recording studio.
The process of putting this together has taken a long time. It's probably been a 2-year project plus. So I think I can absolutely see why we weren't able to do it at the time.
Well, there was a period of time when we were endeavouring to be purist about it and to keep what we had and not add to it. But we thought, well, if we were continuing with these pieces 20 years ago, we would have added to them. So we changed our tack a little bit and thought, let's just make them sound great. There was 1 or 2 pieces where I'm just playing a guitar riff, and we thought that would be so nice if Nick just played some drums over it. So we added some drums on a couple of tracks and added a few guitars here and there. It's substantially from that period, but there's quite a bit of additional musical additions that have gone on. So in the beginning of 1993, we went into Britannia Rose Studios and set up just like the old days, so that the 3 of us could just play along with each other for the love of it, see what it came out like. And out of that, this album has grown. Out of that grew the Division Bell album as well, but there was an awful lot of material.
The initial idea was that this album was going to be half of the Division Bell, and the Division Bell would consist of, funnily enough, almost a throwback to Umaguma or something like that, where half of it would be studio, sort of full-on studio songs, more or less, and then there'd be this ambient album that would be really something completely different.
The only concept is the concept of Rick and Nick and I playing together in a way that we had done way in the past, but had kind of forgotten that we did, and was instantly familiar.
Because the riff is very strong, but you get too much of it, and it feels as though it needs to lurch on to some other...
Well, that's why I went off into other pieces. But,
I think Rick would be thrilled, actually. I think this record is rather a good way of recognising a lot of what he does. I think the most significant element was really actually hearing what Rick did, because having lost Rick, it was that thing of, it really brought home what a special player he was.
It is a tribute to him. I mean, it's very evocative and emotional in a lot of moments. Certainly, listening to all of this stuff, it made me regret his passing all over again. And this is the last chance anyone will get to hear him just playing along with us in that way that he did.
Beautiful. It's beautiful in the cans here. That's it, that's okay.
when we played the Albert Hall in 1968, we were banned for life, apparently, after our playing there, because I think it's because they'd nailed great nails into the stage so that Nick's drum kit wouldn't walk away across the stage and fall off. But on the afternoon, before we did that, during the setup, Rick said, could I have a go on this great big pipe organ that's built in? And so we set him up and set a couple of mics up and recorded him playing, just jamming away on his own. And we've got a piece of that tape from 1968 on the third side of this record. A lot of this album was recorded here in this room. Tiny drum kit in the corner, a couple of other guitar amps. We actually used to get a Hammond organ as well. Yes. And a couple of keyboards, guitars, bass, all in this room.
A bit like a pub.
Yeah.
One of my abiding memories of this is I went down to Brighton to put some drums on it, and David came along to see how it was all going and started listening to it all and so on, and picked up a guitar, and I don't think he'd intended to get as involved as he did, just in that very moment. And I think that, that's the thing. It's something, I don't think we really understand it ourselves as to why it works or why it creates some specific sound. It's amazing how I keep hearing the same drum fill coming up for the last 40 years.
We have our musical palette, and that's what, everyone who works in music tends to have a palette that is theirs and that they use, and they're never going to sound like someone else, and we're certainly not going to sound like anyone else. It's inevitable. The sum is greater than the parts. You have to get into the right mood to listen to this. There are lots of people who still love to listen to music that way. Listen to a whole thing, a whole piece all the way through, and get really into the mood of the whole thing rather than listening to shorter pieces. And this is for them, really. Polly wrote the words for Louder Than Words to express that there's something magical about the music that the three of us make together. It has a sort of a magic flow that is encapsulated, if you like, by the words Louder Than Words. Well, this is one of the pieces of music that seemed fairly complete as an idea for a song, and Polly came up with the idea for Louder Than Words as something that describes what we achieve when we make the music that we make. Rick nor I are the most verbal, and so Polly was thinking it was very appropriate for us to express what we do through the music, but she's helping us to describe it in words as well. I think we have successfully commandeered the best of what there is. I suspect this is it.